Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let me know hi in the chat and where you're calling in from or checking in from. So, today we're talking about a really important topic. I think this one topic is probably one of the most life-changing experiences of my life. And I'm going to go back with you where I first learned this concept or became aware of it, let's just say. So, as you guys know, in my 20s, I was a single mom. My first marriage had ended in divorce, and I was left with a little baby. And for 4 years, I was just in that state of I don't want a relationship. I don't want to do anything with anyone. But when I did decide to get remarried, I had a group of friends. Some were never married, wanting to be married. Some were divorced, wanting to be remarried. Some were, well, let me think. Actually, no, I don't think there was any other single moms. I was the only single mom in the group. But what I noticed was that my friends that were single, never married, and wanted to get married, and some of them were in their early mid-30s, they had a story. Their story was, it's harder for me to get remarried because it's hard to explain why I've never been married. So their story was, it's easier for people that are divorced to get remarried when you're in your 30s. So that was their story, and they were having the hardest time. My friends that were divorced, their story was that I can't get remarried. I'm only going to find losers. No one's going to want to marry me because I'm divorced, and people who are divorced can't get remarried. This is in my culture. This is the thing. If you're divorced or you're a single mom, good luck, right? That's the story. Although that's not true, but that's the story, that you can't get remarried. No one wants you. So my story was, the story that I created and then personified was that because I'm divorced and because I'm a single mom, I'm a great catch. Was this ultimately true? No, none of the stories are true. All stories are just stories. All beliefs are just beliefs. None of them are true until you say that they are, until you power them. So I powered up that story. And I was the first one out of the group to get married. The first one. The ones that were telling the story that they're never been married, so now they can't get married, they couldn't do it. The ones that were like, well, I'm divorced and I can't get married, they couldn't do it. I was the first one. And what I learned from this is that we are the only ones aware of our insecurities and our liabilities, our perceived liabilities. And we power them and highlight them and market them to everyone that comes into our field. I remember when I first got married, it was like a year and a half in. I had just had my middle son, and my sister-in-law was visiting, Irfan's eldest sister. She's amazing. She's like a second mother to me. Her daughter is the same age as me, so she's way older than Irfan. And she was visiting, and I had made all this really amazing traditional Pakistani food for them. And I personally thought that I had kind of messed up the dessert. And so before I could even serve it to them, I was like, oh, I usually make this better, and I messed this up, and da-da-da-da. And she took one bite of it, and she's like, this is amazing. She's like, Mina, you are born and raised here. I don't know any other person that's born and raised here and can cook traditional Pakistani food, let alone cook it this great. She's like, stop telling us and anyone else that you messed something up, that something's wrong. She's like, I wouldn't have known. I'm standing over here so impressed that how did my brother get so lucky to get an American-born Pakistani who actually can cook at this level or cook at all? So she's like, we're already impressed. Stop telling us. And that was such a big kind of aha moment. I'm like, she wouldn't have, she was there standing in awe, watching me with love. And I'm like, oh, I messed up the dessert, right? So we advertise our insecurities in our energy, in our vibration, through our words. So zip it up. Learn to market yourself. Learn to market yourself better. And throughout this whole process of learning to market myself better, I actually became better because I realized that no one gives a damn about my perceived insecurities or my perceived liabilities. They're too damn busy about their own insecurities and liabilities. No one cares. Show up the world as if I'm the best version of myself, and anything that could be even perceived as a liability is actually my asset, is my biggest asset. I become in my power. I'm standing in my power, and that's what people see. And it actually gives other people permission to be and do the same, so they feel more comfortable in your power. Not even 5 minutes in, and this is already gold. I'm so glad, Tian. I love it when it just resonates. 4 p.m. in London. Hi, Heather. Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you, Tiff. I love you. Thank you, everyone. Hi, Nicole. So happy to have you guys here. Hi, Hero. I think it's Oshan. Welcome in, everyone. So whatever your liabilities or insecurities are, they are just a story that you have been telling on repeat. All stories are false or neutral, I should say. All stories are neutral until you give them power. You power them up. So choose a story that's actually liberating, that's actually free, that's actually empowering, and say it until you believe it. Put it on repeat until you start believing it, because they're all just stories. They're all just stories. The internet and the world is full of, I can't do it, why? Take the same damn thing and say, this is exactly why I can do it. Because they're all stories. Might as well tell one that's more empowering. Right? Tell one that's more empowering. Whatever the thing is, it's a story. You made it up. One of the other amazing things that happened to me was when I started Northwestern University. So I was born to immigrant parents, and I would go back home to my parents' country every year, every summer, to spend, time in my culture with my relatives there. And so you can say that in some ways, even though I was born and raised in Chicago, my world was very limited, right? Like I was aware of diversity, obviously, growing up in Chicago, like going to Chicago schools, but I wasn't really immersed in them. Like I didn't know diversity intimately enough. When I started my first real corporate job and started Northwestern University, my life just blossomed, because at my job and at school, I was around different types of people, different colors, different languages, different denominations, different status, different financial status, right? Let me give you an example. In college was the first time that I had my first gay best friend. I didn't know that there was a group of people that are in same-sex relationships. I just wasn't exposed to that in my childhood. So that opened up a whole world of, there's so many different types of people, and all of these people have different beliefs and different stories and different ways of being. What can I learn from them? And what can I learn from them? And what can I learn from them? And so through this process, I started learning that a lot of the things that made me feel limited in life, my beliefs were just from my own cultural upbringing, and that I could let those go. They were not ultimate truths for all human beings, and that I could choose another truth, right? I could choose another story. So I was exposed to my boss at the corporate job that I was at. He was very, very wealthy, self-made, first generation wealth, right? Super wealthy. And the way that he thought and the way that he related to the world was such a new way for me. And I started picking up and kind of absorbing all of the stuff that he would say, little things he would say, the way he kept his office, even the way he dressed, the way he kept his car, the way he treated his daughters and his wife, it all became this learning experience for me. And one of the biggest takeaways was that everything, it's just a different story that people had adopted. They're all just arbitrary lines that we have drawn, right? If you're born in one certain kind of environment, there's a cap, an energetic maximum to what you believe you can have, to the wealth you can have, to the place you can live in, to the relationship that you can have. I was talking to one of my private clients a while back, and she was saying, Mina, the only instructions that I was given for relationship was don't marry a man that abuses you, like physically abuses you. She's like, he could be broke, he could not have any good values. As long as he's not hitting you, he's a good match. Like that was the only kind of criteria she was given. And so she's like, when she went to, college or high school, whatever, when like higher education, she met people who were given different sets of criterias on what they should be looking for in a man. And that was like a big awakening kind of thing for her. And so she was saying how when I came into your world, she's like, oh my God, like he could provide, like what? Like that was not information that she had, not a story that she was exposed to. So we all have these maximums and these minimums that we have arbitrarily set for ourselves, and you can expand yourself out of those. All of your limitations, your liabilities, and your insecurities are perceived. They are made up stories by you, by your limited reality at the moment, by your culture, by your upbringing. They are not true. They are not true. They are not ultimate truths. They are not written as the genetic code for all human beings. They are just made up stories that someone decided. You can choose a new story, a more uplifting story that gets you out of that. You can choose a new one right now. Yes, I was the same way before I learned about your work. I didn't know a man like your fun was possible. Oh my goodness. So you see this, Tiff, like when you have no example in your limited world, you think, well, this is the max that I can have, right? Like, oh, having someone that's not going to put his hands on me. Okay, that's the maximum I can have. But like, there's so much more. I tell my students and my clients, even what I'm telling you is a limitation, because at the end of the day, we are infinite beings made in the image of the one infinite creator, right? We're still limited. We're having a container experience. Earth, the planet, the 3D experience is a container. Within this container, we will always be limited. So even what I'm telling you is a energetic maximum. It's a cap, but it's far above what most of you have currently experienced. So it expands you. But there comes a point in my life, a couple times a year, where I hit that cap, and then I have to expand beyond that. Then I have to expand beyond the other cap, right? Because even someone who's a billionaire and happily married and has the perfect kids and has the perfect health and has the perfect house, he or she is still somewhat limited because they're still having a 3D experience. Like there's still a container here. They're still not merging with God consciousness, right? If we were to compare them to the consciousness of the angels, they're not there yet. So everything is still a limitation. Choose one that's slightly higher than where you are now. But you must learn to drop those damn insecurities and those liabilities. Just in the past week, the number of people that have come on my channel listing out publicly on a random person's YouTube video, not that I'm random, but like putting it on a YouTube video. I have ADHD, I have this, I'm depressed, I'm sick, I'm ill, I'm blah, blah, blah. Cut it out. Cut it out. Stop your identification with these things, because they are just a moment. They're just a blip in time. They don't even get to have a chapter in your book. Stop over-identifying with your current limitations. Stop making them your story. Choose a new story. Choose a story that it involves healing. Choose a story that involves you breaking through, having a massive transformation. Choose a story where you alchemize these little shifts and pains and all the stuff that you've been given and turn it into some of the biggest blessings of your life. Choose that story. They're all just a story. Why not choose one that is uplifting and gets you out of this state? Choose a new personal reality, and it changes your personality. It literally does. It rewires you. Hi, Nora. Thank you for this reminder. I need to get over myself. I love these sister talks. Thank you, baby girl. I love them too. So whatever they are, get in your journal. Here's some homework for you guys. Okay, this homework is also in the Basic Babe bundle. It's in Sacred Feminine. I've got homework that's similar. Personal power activation is really, really good for all these kind of insecurities and limitations. So write out, what are my perceived current insecurities and liabilities? What do I perceive as a liability or an insecurity? Is it my weight? Is it my hair? Is it my looks? Is it the fact that I'm divorced? Is it the fact that I'm broke? Is it the fact that I'm a single mom? Whatever it is, write them all down. And then rewrite them as the healed, alchemized, transformed version of you. Turn them into your biggest assets. So this is where we take our insecurities and our liabilities and we actually turn them into assets. We turn them into gold. Not that I get to have the thing despite this. I get to have the thing because of this, because this is a blessing, because this is gold. Okay, I get to have it because of this. And say it, affirm it, write it, behave like it, think like it, feel into it, and that will become your new personality, personal reality. That will become the new way that you think, because at the end of the day, they're all just stories. Choose ones that empower you. Choose ones that empower you. So every time people say, I can't have this, Mina, because da 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 da, my answer will always be, you get to have it because of this. You get to have it even more because this is your gift. I've heard every excuse in the book. Trust me. And I've also met people that had far worse situations at that thing, and they alchemized it into gold, and that actually became their biggest asset. You get to do that too. But you need to be able to keep your mouth shut long enough to let it alchemize into something positive. Stop affirming and identifying with all of these negative things. The Western world is so obsessed with their diagnosis, like how ill they are and how depressed they are and how broke they are. You may be, but that's just a little blip in your story that doesn't get to hold any power until you throw out the anchor and lock yourself there. I'm just going to hang out here in Broke Town for a while. No, you're not. No, it doesn't have to be that way. You can choose to get yourself out of that state simply by changing your story. Simply by changing your story. Letting go of what other people think I should be was huge in letting go of the insecurities when I worked through them in the Basic Babe bundle. Yes. Because when you consider what other people are saying, you're doubling, tripling up on insecurities and limiting beliefs, because everyone that you're talking to has limiting beliefs and insecurities too, even me, right? So choose a person that's a little bit more expansive in their limiting beliefs, right? So I tell my students all the time, what if you do this work right, at some point, even what I'm telling you will look like a limiting belief. And that's a good thing. That's why I'm always changing. That's why I'm always evolving. That's why I'm always alchemizing, because there's always a next level. Like Oprah is still doing her inner work, isn't she? Tony Robbins is still doing his inner work. Everyone's doing their next level inner work. So alchemize it, get to the next level, and then find the next level and the next level. So when you talk to people that are at the same level that you are, or even below you, then you're taking on their limiting beliefs. There was a video that I had done years ago on choosing coaches and mentors and people that are ahead of you in the journey and asking them for advice versus people that are not where you want to go, right? Like my dad used to say, don't ask directions for a place you're not going to. That's kind of the vibe of that. And there was a viewer that saw that video and she was like, that's incorrect. I think I can learn someone from homeless people. We can learn someone from everyone. And so personally, I don't have anything against homeless people, but if I'm trying to build wealth and have a blissful life experience and create a happy family, a secure family, a loving family, I'm not going to hire a homeless person. That's just the truth, right? That is not going to be the person that I hire as a mentor or a coach. Nothing against them, my love to them. I may help them and support them in other ways, but I wouldn't hire them as a coach. So let's get ourselves out of this, that no, we're going to call the person that's like even more full of limiting beliefs and drama and suffering, and ask them for help. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's not how successful people work or think or process, right? We surround ourselves with people that are more successful, or at the very least at our level, so that we can be inspired by them. We can be motivated. We can move to our next level. Like, get this thing out of your head that you're going to call your most like addicted to suffering friend, and you're going to vent to them, and they're going to somehow help you out of the state. Like, it doesn't make any sense. They can't help you. They're just going to infect you with more limiting beliefs. Now you've doubled and tripled up. Good luck getting yourself out of that state. Thank you. I need this. Yes, Nicole. Homework. What are my perceived insecurities? Rewrite them, affirm them, think like it, rewire it, choose new beliefs that empower you. We get to have it because of it. Yes. I leveled it one up. Not I get to have it despite of it. I get to have it because of it. Because this makes me stand out. This makes me even more special. This makes me a catch. This makes me radiate on even a higher level. This makes me sparkle and brings the right opportunities to me like a magnet. That's what I want you to believe. Because that's even just the energy and the vibration of that is so uplifting. That's like, yes, hell yes. And people won't even notice those things, because most of the time we tell people those things. It's in our energy. Like I was giving you the example with my sister-in-law and me telling her that I had messed up the kheer. No, I had not. Okay. She was already impressed. She's like, I'm standing here going, this girl is born and raised here. So intelligent, so beautiful, and she can freaking cook. Like, she's like, that's what I'm thinking. And I'm like, oh, I messed this up. Don't do it. Don't do it. Stop identifying with those. Stop looking for a pity party. Stop looking for validation. You are a grown-up. You are a grown-up person. Stop with this validation shit. That's for children. That's for children. When we haven't done our inner work, that's where we're stuck. Mommy, mommy, papa, papa, like to everyone, right? Then the next level up is when you've done a little bit of inner work, you almost become more dangerous. Here's why. Hear me out. Basic babes are really dumb and make stupid mistakes, but there is still this like innocent, like they don't know what they don't know kind of a vibe. It's almost childlike, right? Self-aware Barbie has done a little bit, right? Like she has some awareness. So she's now raised herself up from the childlike state, the toddler, like, oh, cutie, right? Oh, she's just so clueless, it's cute, to almost like an unruly teenager where there's a lot of rebellion, there's a lot of like resistance, like, I know everything, you don't get it, right? That's the state. There's a lot of perceived information that hasn't been embodied that they'll be spitting out at you, and God forbid you try to teach them anything because they know everything. The teenager state. That's what I call, like, you've done a little bit, and so now you're locked into the rebellious teenager. But that's still not a fully grown adult, is it? When you get to the fully grown adult version of you, $1 million babe and higher, there's a calmness in you. There's a deep internal knowing. You don't have to spit out the information to everyone. You don't have to tell everyone the correct brand of food that they should be eating, that they should be da-da-da-da-da. You just embody it. It's all for you. You don't have to spit it out. You don't have to get into arguments with people. There is nothing to debate, right? You know what you know, but you also know there's a lot you don't know because you're out of that rebellious teenager state. You're like, oh, there's so much more I still have to learn. This makes me sparkle. Oh, that's right up my alley. Yes. Yes, Tiff. You're already sparkling so bright. I love it. So there is more to learn and embody, and it all gets to be fun, and it all gets to be this big bundle of joy, and it gets to be easy, and you get to do it because we are living in an age where we have infinite opportunity to learn and expand. Everything's free these days on the internet. You can get access to all of it. In fact, sometimes I think that holds people back, because when something's free and they haven't invested, they can't really be invested with their energy, right? But do it. Sit down, do the homework, crush those liabilities. Oh, quickly, I have to tell you guys. So there is an invitation. This is only for projectors or anyone else that's like severely burned out. I'm running a 4-day mastermind. It's going to be live, called the Aligned Projector. You guys know projectors are very limited in their energy, but very potent in their energy. We work, live, breathe, date, relate, earn, manifest very differently than the other types. So I'm doing a really deep dive in this mastermind. It's linked in the description box. It starts soon. So for those of you guys that are projectors, this is your invitation. Check it out in the description box. Okay. So projectors or anyone else that really has trouble managing their energy and wants to create their life differently, manage their energy. Okay. So what is coming up for you guys when you're thinking about perceived liabilities or insecurities, and how are you going to transmute it into the best thing that ever happened to you? A story worth telling, a healing story worth telling. It's a book in the making. What is that? If you were on Oprah, what would be the alchemy story that you would tell on that thing? Write that as your identification. Identify with that. Hi, Kristen. So nice to see you, babe. We're talking about perceived liabilities and insecurities today. So while you guys are writing, let me see if it's back. So a couple of you guys emailed me. I know that we were having a little bit of a glitch on my channel where you could not see my content under the videos tab. I believe it's been corrected. Let me just go and check. I wrote out a little thing for you guys saying that it's being sorted as we speak, and guess what? It got sorted. So it is fine now. No need for concern. Also, over the weekend, my team added tons and tons of hours of bonuses to many of my programs. So if you guys are in the Self-Aware Barbie bundle, Modern Dating for Queens bundle, the Self-Aware Barbie bundle, the Divine Union bundle, the Personal Power Activation course, there is hours and hours and hours of bonus content that has been added in there. So go and check it out. Oh, $1 Million Babe course. Also much bonus, hours of bonuses added in there. So all of that is bonused in for you guys. So log in and check that out. I'm an asset because I'm a divorced single mom. My kids are great and he gets to have an instant family. Yes, there are men. Actually, I was talking to a guy a few days ago, one of my clients, and he was saying how the girl that he's dating is a single mom, but that he actually loves that about her. He feels that it grounds her. He's like, the other women I've dated previously, they're out partying, they're out getting drunk, they're doing all this stuff. And he's like, what I love about her is that her mother energy actually grounds her. This is a guy that's never been married, doesn't have kids, talking about a single mother. Okay. The reason he hired me was how to communicate certain things with her before he proposes. So, okay. So yes, whatever you believe, perceived liability that I have a son with learning disabilities. I'm trying, Mina. I'm not there yet. So I had a son with all of these faux learning disabilities diagnosed. And I'm saying faux because he's actually 2 grades ahead of his peers now. Turns out he was actually smarter than his peers and his where he's supposed to be, and just misunderstood because he was a late communicator. So whatever it is, you get to alchemize it. I taught him the law of attraction. I worked with him for years. I've shared the story with you guys. He is 2 levels ahead. He's in college when he should be in 10th grade. So that's how to alchemize. That I was talking to my kids yesterday. The boys and I we do some financial work together. I teach them investing and things like that in a fun way. And I was telling, when our session was over, I was kind of just hugging them. And I'm like, I want you guys to know that no matter what it is that comes up, even when I'm not here, whatever comes up for you guys, you have it in you. You have it in you to alchemize it and turn it into gold. I literally said this to my boys yesterday because I am confident that everything that I've taught them through my own embodiment, they now know that whatever life throws at them, they can turn it into something beautiful. It's just the process. I stopped identifying with my MS and I keep the vision of mind of being healed and in perfect health with no symptoms. I get to live my healthiest, best life. I don't have symptoms anymore. I love that. Yes, 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 Nicole. Love that for you. That was my exact situation with RA. In fact, over the weekend, I had my team take down all of that content. We're actually putting it into the courses that they belong to as bonuses. So it's going to be put into like my health course and things like that. So it's still going to be available for people that are ready to use it and transform it. But I'm ready to evolve past that even being a story. Like it's so far gone that I can't even relate to the healing story of that now. Like that's how it's rewired. Like it's just out of my system. It's like there's no cellular memory of it at all. That's where you can get. It's all just believing. It's all just stories that we're choosing. Most people choose stories that keep them stuck. I choose stories that empower me to my next level. That's it. That's the difference between the successful and the not. You can be outwardly successful and have all kinds of icky damn stories, right? Like we hear about that kind of stuff too. But that's just a decision that you get to make, right? Choose a different story. Choose one that takes you slightly above where you are, then choose a new one, then choose a new one, then choose a new one. This is a process. It's like what I call in the Millionaires and Money course, like the caterpillar. Like you caterpillar your way there slowly, one new story at a time, one new uplifting belief at a time. You get to do this. I don't even speak on my MS anymore unless someone who knows me reminds me of it. I don't think about it. This is such a good point, Nicole. I actually had to stop communication lovingly, close the door lovingly, right? On certain family members and friends who were so stuck in their stuckness that the only conversations we were having was of how, remember 4 years ago when you used to say this, or remember 10 years ago when you used to have panic attacks, remember when you were a hot mess. I had to stop talking to those people because they are so stuck that they get some kind of a satisfaction suffering out of reminding me of my stuckness years ago. And yes, I'm up leveled out of it. Like I don't even recognize myself. My DNA is so up leveled now that I can't even relate to that. But there's still a level of misery there that I'm sorry, I'm far too successful and going to high places to even engage with that anymore. It's just not worth it. Right? I want to hang out with people and talk to people that are creating something beautiful, right? Even if they're not at my level, they're moving in that direction. They're uplifting people. So that's just like, it's like when you're ready, you'll know where to find me kind of a vibe. Let them be. Move in silence, let them be. There's no good coming out of that. Because I notice I'm triggering them because they've known me for this period where I was a hot mess and they were a hot mess. And 7 years later, I'm a completely new and different person and they're still there. So I'm triggering them and they're crabs in a bucket trying to be like, hey, remember those panic attacks that you used to have? No, bye. I don't. I'm sorry, you still do though. Good luck with that. So let them go. And it's not a nasty thing. It's not an unloving thing. It's a very loving thing to say, close the door with love. I'll see you when you're here. You know where to find me when you're ready. This is such a simple concept once you really hear it. The power of stories is underrated, but extremely potent. Yes, they're all stories. They're all stories. I tell myself empowering stories every single day. I told the story of I wake up to thousands of dollars of sales. I wake up to a loving husband who adores me and romances me. I wake up to empowered, confident, assured, balanced, happy kids for many years until it became my reality. Yes, I had every opportunity to tell other stories. I did. I chose not to. Why? Why am I going to tell any story when they're just all stories that makes me feel bad? I'm not going to do it. Most people are so cut off from their body that they don't even notice how awful they feel when they're telling that story. They don't even notice it. They're addicted. Break that pattern, tell a new story. Tell a new story. And tell that story repeatedly until it's wired in, until you have the new neural pathways and networks that support that story, until it's really programmed in your subconscious. Yes, it's really that simple, but most people won't do it because they're too addicted to misery and seeking validation and getting the pity party from everyone. Honestly, once you get turned in the direction of the better feeling stories, the old ones aren't as appetizing anymore. Bingo! You're disgusted by them, right? There's like a disgust reflex. I know exactly what you mean. You're like, no, because the other one just feels so good and so divine. Like the way I think about it is when I'm feeling bad, I'm disconnected from source. So I don't want to be unplugged from source, right? No, ma'am. So I'm just going to plug myself back in by telling the story that reconnects me to source. The ick factor, love it. Yes. It's disgusting. It's like, no, that story feels disgusting in my body. Nope. I'm unplugged from source right now, not doing it. But people tell stories all day long. I have people emailing me and commenting under my videos, pretending to ask a story, but pretending to ask a question, but actually they just wanted to tell their story. Sometimes my team will tell me, I'm not really understanding this question, Mina. Is she asking about a course or just because they'll pretend like they'll write in the subject line and make it look like they were inquiring about a course, but it was a toxic venting session. They didn't really want to know about the course. There's no mention of the course, just their story of why they're stuck. We will do anything to put that story out there. Why? Why? Cut it out. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that to yourself? It feels gross. If you tap into how you feel, those of you guys that think venting is good for you, next time you're venting, tap into your body's sensation. You will be so shocked, alarmed, and disgusted at how you feel that you probably never do it again. And ask an honest person in your life, not one that's a people pleaser and that's going to be like, no problem. Ask them how they feel after you vent to them. If they feel good and uplifted and motivated. I dare you. Find an honest person and ask them. Absolutely nothing is worth disconnection from source. No, that sounds kind of scary to me. Like, no, plug me back in, please. That's like the ultimate life support, right? I want to be plugged in there. That's my life support. Slap me on the hand if you catch me doing this. It's just amazing to me, the extreme lengths that we're willing to go to share our rock bottom story, where we're stuck story. Why I can't do better story. Like, okay, sure, I hear you. Just validate them, nod, and step away. Because they are not about to learn and grow from you. God forbid you give them any advice. Welcome to the $1 Million Babes, babe. Henrietta, I think it is. Welcome, babe. So pattern interrupt those stories and choose ones that are way more empowering, girl. When I'm in complaint mode, I know I've lost consciousness for a moment. Exactly. Exactly. And we all have those moments, right? But here's how to know if a relationship is truly toxic versus they've just lost consciousness. So this is something that I learned from a monk, actually. He was saying how there's a type of person that's there's okay, we have three types of friends, right? There's people that are like uplifting and motivating. There's people that are uplifting and motivating generally, but they're having a bad moment. Like, let's say, they're going through grief or something, and that might be a year or so, like that, or a divorce, right? So it's like a momentary bad time. And then there's people that are always stuck in their story of misery, toxic venting all the time. It's like 8 years later, still complaining about the same thing or found some new addictions to complain about. The third type of people are extremely dangerous. They're toxic. They will bring you down. They're not adding anything, first of all. They're not even at neutral because you feel very drained and unhappy. I had lots of people like that in my life who, despite having them in my life, I kept growing and learning and evolving and putting my blinders on. But every time I talked to them, there was a like feelings of shame for being good. Well, you get to have it easy, and while you're doing good, right? Tricking me into manipulations and kind of like asking for money and kind of really weird and shady ways, making me feel guilty for not giving the money even though they were just gonna go blow it the next day, like things like that. And I kept that going for years until I was just like, how is this uplifting? How is this even neutral? I'm not adding any value to their life because they're not in a space to learn and grow. They're not even in a space to like go out to lunch and just have a neutral experience. So I had to let those people go. They weren't going to change. And if they did, they'd know where to find me. We'd be a match again, right? But friends that are generally uplifting people, but just going through grief and stuff, I will set a container for that kind of stuff, right? Like what I'm available for. This is a really strong boundary that I've had to set. Keep in mind that while my parents were out saving the world, I was being molested at home. While they were out, engaging with everyone's problems and giving them money and bringing in homeless people, their kids were suffering. So the generational break, the generational up level and upgrade that I get to meet is, how can I still be on mission? How can I help the world, do my part on my little corner of the planet and the internet, while still being in alignment to me first, family first, never at the expense of myself or my family, through my own overflow. And so that means that I need to be able to cut those people out. And how I do it, and I say, babe, I hear it's been bad for you for a while. Well, I make this motivational content, check it out. And then that's it. Because if it's me that you need, go and check out my videos. But I'm not available for hours and hours of toxic venting every single day. That was a really nasty pattern in my life. I spent 20 years of my life spending at least an hour a day. I'm ashamed to say this at this point. At least an hour of my day. Someone wants to do the math for me, do it. Listening to people vent who weren't going to change. So let those people go. My story now is that I attract people who are ready to learn, who are ready to grow, who are ready to be empowered, who are ready to be motivated, who are so inspired to go to their next level that they have no place for venting. They have no place for toxic behavior. They have no place for pity parties. They are so ready to break to their next level, to alchemize, to transmute, to have their next level transformation. Those are the people that come into my world now. Everyone else gets to fall away with love and grace. And I get to keep moving up. People pleasing really will have you trying to be all things to all people and nothing to yourself. Exactly. You can't help them all. You're not meant to. My best friend and I have gotten to the point of saying, I'm sorry, babe, now what's next? Beautiful. Blessed to have someone to grow with, even if it's only for a moment. Ooh, that's good. I love that. It's like a invitation to, okay, I heard you. I see you. What are we doing about it? What are we doing about it? Yes. Absolutely love that. That's an invitation to the next level. Those are the kind of friendships that empower you, that help you, that call you out when you're in that moment of lost consciousness, as you said. A momentary kind of relapse, but we're out. But there are people that are addicted, and without judging, with all love in my heart, we need to let them be and let them go. They're not ready to listen yet. They're not there yet. Okay, I love that. So thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with me. Projectors, your invitation. I have the Aligned as Projector Mastermind happening in a couple weeks, I think in 10 days. It's linked in the description box. I'll also link it in the comments. If you are in any of the following programs, Basic Babe Bundle, Self-Aware Barbie Bundle, Modern Dating, Divine Union especially, and Personal Power Activation, log in. There has been hours and hours of bonuses added to your package. You're going to be very pleasantly surprised, especially the Divine Union babes. I think in the Call in the Provider, we added over 19 hours of content, bonus content yesterday. So go and check it out. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.